20 handicap, looking to stop the block push with the irons for the lefty that's going left, and we'll also see the ball continue to curve a little bit to the left. So initial reaction would be to look at the path and the face, but included in these 3 videos are 2 shots that were blocked to the left, 1 shot that was clean. This strike here looks like it's a little close to that heel. The ball will get up in the air and then start fading from right to left. The face didn't look like it was coming in too far open, and the path wasn't a major issue either. Looking at the second of the 3 videos, we're going to see a similar setup: backswing, top, transition down, and then a really bad heel strike, which is barely going to get that ball off the ground, and then sharply curve from right to left. That feels like you've topped it, but you've actually just hit the heel, which I feel like is your number one issue, more so than trying to worry about your wrist angle, face angle, or your path. So here's the last video, the best of the 3 as far as the video quality and strike. So looking down at this impact location, seems to be much more centered on the face. You get a much higher launch angle, and the ball doesn't look like it has much curve going on at all. So with the what I would consider limited variability between the 3 swings that you sent in, the biggest change is 1 center hit, 2 heels. So your issue isn't an open face coming in, doesn't seem like you're coming rapidly over the path, but your 2 bad strikes were heel. I think that I've beat the horse dead enough by now, and I think it's time to figure out how to stop it. So looking at the setup from this position, well, if you're hitting it on the heel, why would you start with the ball lined up so close to the heel? Because visually it doesn't look that way when you're looking straight down from your perspective, but from a down the line view, it's pretty clear to see that that ball is way too close to the hosel. So begin with a little bit more space. Not generally the best fix to just get started is to stand further away from the ball. That can lead to other issues, but just get that ball more on the toe side of center from setup, and then get your feet comfortable from there. Next, you're going to want to address the openness in your shoulders, meaning you're aiming to the right, which can have a bad path influence. That I'm just mentioning for future reference. You can adjust that later, but we're going to work on your hand path first to address the heel issue. Squaring up the shoulders may give you a little bit more space in here as well if you were to open up or close those hips, turning them back from the setup as well. But here we're going to draw a trace of the shaft right on your hands, and we're going to see where this approaches at the impact position. Looking at the takeaway, the first move is up and outside the plane. Face control is good, body's rotating, and here you've mentioned you're working on the wrist angle to keep the club face square. You can see a small cup in that lead wrist, but nothing egregious, and we're going to see that as you travel with that club back down, there's a little steepening of that plane that can be addressed at a later point because that club path, as we see, isn't really that far over the top. That face angle has maintained a good square to closed position with a decent wrist angle here. What is the issue is now the hand path extending further away from your body than initially started. I think that you can really tighten this up by working on your trail elbow connection to the body. It begins to fly away a bit, causing your hands to reach out and causing that club to extend, as we just said, this way. I'm sure that there's also some hip thrust coming in slightly from here to the top. There's not much from the top on down. Hey, not too bad either. As your hips clear open, your arms and hands are just getting a bit away from you. And then they will travel and try to correct that issue by flipping or scooping that face and leading that path across your body in the follow-through, trying to save or swipe it to not hit it on the heel. There's that exposed cup wrist at the top, but in order, I'd keep it as simple as this. Keep working on the same wrist angles you've been doing. Your elbow's fairly tight and connected here, but stick it in your trail pocket and try not to let it fly away as you transition down into the strike. But other than that, it's a fairly decent move that I think will produce a lot more shots that are high and straight like this if you get away from the heel and stop feeling like you're topping it when you're actually heeling it. So the video comparison I had for you here with a similar build and action in the swing. It looks like you're holding the lag through, and with the face angle being held, you're able to do that successfully. So we'll flip a lefty Gary Woodland over and see that the ball is more centered from the start. Posture of the back is similar, lots of knee flex and a very good athletic position. With that same hand path line, we'll stop it where we did with you as well, right on the hands. He will also begin the backswing a little bit more upright on the outside of the plane, letting that toe roll open a bit more. Higher, more vertical position, and then the trail elbow will extend and then drop closer. The biggest difference is how we see this connection and tightness of that trail elbow, as I said, into the pocket as it's all the way through strike before it extends and reaches away from the body. Having a more narrow path and narrow connection with the arms and body leading to a longer, more extended follow-through is what creates the speed. If that trail elbow starts to elongate and get longer at about this position, you're gaining speed before impact, so your club would be moving a little bit faster here and then slow down and cut across. But with the connection and extension happening later, the speed happens at the right time, and then the release can have a lot more extension through. So I hope you can pick up a couple things from that analysis. If you have any questions, please feel free to follow up through email, sendaswing.com.